Before Gerald calls our first speaker for our public comment period, I would be remiss if I did not thank also all of the different people that I've had the opportunity to work with throughout the city of Albany. I see Judge Riley. He served as corporation counsel for a number of years, and you cannot find a kinder gentleman than you, Judge Riley, and I appreciate you being here tonight. I see another member of Corporation Council standing in the wings. I don't know if he came here to say goodbye to me or to talk about something else, but at least you stood here, and thank you so much. I appreciate you and the time that we spent up here together for many years. And Mr. Jordan has moved on to greener pastures, so it lets me know that, there's something out there for me when I leave here as well. So I just want to thank you, Pat, for being here tonight. But I had the opportunity to, I see a former city clerk, Nala Woodard, who also came tonight, and want to thank you for the opportunity I had to work with you as city clerk, a gentleman and a scholar. I really appreciate you being here tonight. And if there's anybody else out, and all of the folks from Capitalize Albany and the planning board, I saw a few people from there. They've had to listen to me say this and that, and you're not. That's not clear, and all kind of. And what do you mean by that? So I thank you, and I hope that we've learned something from each other over the course of the years. Questions are good. There's no bad question. So that's what So if you think it, ask it. Because somebody else in the room is probably thinking the same thing, and they're depending on you and waiting for you to ask that question. So please do that. So thank you all so much. I think that's all I got to say. So and he will please call the first speaker.
Russ Meyer.
I just thank you very much, Council President McLaughlin. I don't know how I can present after that, but I will try in my 5 minutes. First off, it was a pleasure meeting you and listening to you during the primary and in this past election, and most certainly very, very impressed, and I wish you well in your future endeavors. I'm here as a result of urgings of the mayor's office, the citizens of Albany, and the veterans, adults, and youth with disabilities and special needs in the Capital Region and beyond that our Paranordic Club serves year-round. And what we have done in this very special endeavor with the City of Albany is to provide specific Paranordic and Nordic services at Capitol Hills Golf Course this coming season. Last season we did it on a trial basis, and it was extremely successful. And to this date, we've formed a document, and you have a number of them here in front of you, in a relationship with the city and the corporate council to run events this coming season. And as demands on us to serve our veterans with disabilities has increased, I'm here tonight from the urgings of the mayor's office to ask if we can have permission to charge equitable and reasonable fees, all of which proceeds would benefit those veterans, adults, and youth with disabilities that we serve, anywhere from Team Albany, Albany Housing Coalition, Living Resources, and the Police Athletic League. The handouts briefly show a letter from the mayor of Albany, which has supported our venture with the city. We've worked with Capitalize Albany Corporation and other entities to get the project off the ground. Second document on the reverse side is a CRNA fundraising that we raised enough funds to, in fact, purchase specific equipment for our veterans based in Albany. And the one thing that Council Franchini has worked with us and discussed with us at length is The need to have this type of fee is a substantial and growing portion of how we would support our programming with these special groups. And the one handout does show that the trail revenue, which would be the lowest in the region and most moderate, could cover 60% of our revenues supporting our programming for those populations we work with. And regarding the demand that, and may I say, we brought in a internationally recognized trail development expert from Thetford, Vermont, who stated that your Capitol Hills is one of the most diverse and appropriate multi-use venues in the country. And he feels that the type of programming we're going to do with cross-country, orienteering, snowshoeing, hiking, dog walking, etc., has truly limitless opportunities in this really prized venue that the City of Albany has. And the last letter from CASTA, the Capital Area Ski Touring Association, the largest group in the region, again, is an advocate for what we want to do, how we want to go about it, and how it can benefit this city in terms of economic development, business corridor development on New Scotland, and ultimately, and most importantly of all, serve those in our community that have special needs, disabilities, from veterans to youth. I've been told that there's a way that there is not an opportunity to do this, but in subsequent conversations with the mayor's office, I was encouraged to come here tonight to present our case to you, the Common Council. Thank you much. Are there any questions?
This is just, you will just make your comment, and if you have any other interaction with the individuals, council members can contact you or you can contact them.
Yes.
If you want to leave a copy of your remarks, you can do that. But otherwise, thank you very much for being here tonight. We appreciate you making your presentation.
Very good.
Thank you. Our next speaker?
Wendell Brown.
Wendell Brown.
Hello.
Good evening. Get your name and your address, please.
Wendell Brown, 17 Kimbrough Street, Albany, New York, 12210. And I'm sure I'll say that faster than anything else I say tonight. I just wanted to say what a blessing it was for me to meet you. The opportunities that I had to get to know you and get to know what you were doing in the city. One thing that comes to mind in particular is a time when I asked if I could accompany you just in your daily travel, just to see what it was like to do what you do. And I recall there being two young girls walking in the neighborhood. One had a huge table on her head, so I assumed she wasn't from the neighborhood, at least not originally.
Can you speak right into the mic?
Of course I can. And I think she was a refugee. I'm pretty sure of it. As we went on, I got to know that because you said, Wendell, you know, this is something I need to take care of here. I need to talk with this young lady. I want to just make sure they have what they need, and if there's anything I can do to serve them. And you did that. You got out of the car and just off the cuff, and you just walked over to them very gingerly and said, "Hi, my name is Carolyn McLaughlin," and you shared who you were, and you asked if you could serve them in any way. And as time went on, they trusted you enough to walk with you, and you walked into the back like an alleyway kind of way, which I would not have done by myself. But I thought it was interesting that you would do something like that, and because it was not about you, but it was about them, and not being afraid to go where they needed to take you so that you could serve them. It wasn't under any place, but it was just in an area that I probably would not have walked by myself. And yet, they later on took you around the house, and you found out that there were 14 children living in that house, one on the way. And they brought out 2 chairs, very pleasant. Apparently they were from Africa. And they brought out 2 chairs. Both of them were pretty soiled. Is that the right way to say it? You sat down, I didn't. But it spoke to where you were willing to go to meet them. And you served them the rest of that day. I don't know, because you dropped me off at about 4 o'clock, but not before you had gone out to clothing stores and to churches to get things and food and furniture and all kinds of things like this. And I just was so impressed with that. It said a lot about you. It said a lot about you to me, that there's a passage in Scripture that says, where my servant is, there am I. Where I am, there will my servant also be. And it seemed to me that that's what work of service is really about. That passage is a scriptural passage, but it's applicable to our lives, our daily lives. And you showed me that. I'm grateful for that. You were somebody that I made the determination after that point, that's somebody that I can follow. That's someone that I can work with. And so, I don't have a lot more to say other than that, but I just wanted to say to you that your example is what stands out to me. It's what you do. You say it, but you also do it. And there's a very strong need for that, particularly today in the political climate that we are in. And those who come after you, I hope they understand the shoes that they will have to fill. I hope they're up to the task, because I will be watching. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Wendell. The next speaker, please.
Herbert McLaughlin.
I prefer to stand, even though you haven't given me enough cord here.
Stand in front of the table now.
My sister instructed me before I came here tonight, this is not a sermon. My family and I would like to acknowledge this is her last night. To the citizens of Albany and to this body, I know how hard my sister has worked. At times she's called me as she approached her house, and as she calls it, the historic South End, I also call it the historic and adventurous South End. Because she said, I'm now approaching my house, I will be entering. If I don't call you back in 5 minutes, something has gone wrong. That's why I call it the adventurous South End, not only historic. But the many times she has discussed issues concerning citizens as it relates to somebody having a problem with their lights being cut off, also as it relates to somebody having a problem with their house or elderly person needing some help with some structural problem with their house and they couldn't afford it, helping them work through all the mechanisms they had to get through, the city red tape to do it, and staying late at night. When I said late at night, getting home sometime, most nights at 11 o'clock at night, this is what she did. And I'm sure many of you who are in this body have done the same thing. But those who don't know, who might be a part of this, a lot of times they might ask you, what have you done? I'm going to be a witness. My family is a witness to what she has done in terms of trying to do what she could for the city. As you know, she's not married. There will no longer be Mr. Albany. She has tried to work hard for the city. And I would ask one question. This city is changing a lot. And she represents that change. And as she mentioned, the people who came before her, there are people who come before you. I'll ask one question, I'm going to sit down. Who knows where Elm Tree Corner was in the city? Does anybody know where Elm Tree Corner? I have one person. Where was the Elm Tree Corner? The corner of State and Pearl. We've come a long way since then. The city is changing. We have all kinds of restaurants in this city, which denote how far this place has come, the changes that are taking place. What Carolyn outlaid, all the things she had taken, you didn't just hear a great oratory, you heard experience. Again, my family thanks you for giving her the opportunity of representing you. She thanks this body for giving her the chance. And from her family, we say thank you. We are very proud of you. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. You'll hear from her again.
Next speaker, please. Thank you, Herb.
Vincent Ragusu.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Vincent Raguso. I live at 13 Beach Avenue, Albany, New York. And also, I am president of Eagle Hill Neighborhood Association. I come down to thank you, Carolyn McLaughlin, president of the Common Council. Tonight, in your farewell speech, you thanked us 10, 12, 14 times, and we should be thanking you for the grace and the dignity that you showed all of us. Never once when I got up here to talk did you stop me. You even let me go beyond the 5-minute range. And if I had not all my facts correctly, you gave me the right facts, but you did it correctly without insulting me. There's not words that I can say to just say thank you. But tonight, when the final Gavin comes, you say, let's adjourn this meeting, please do not disappear. You have too much to offer us citizens. You served us well. When you walk out the door, I want your head up high, because we will never forget Carolyn McLaughlin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raguso.
Lois McLaughlin.
Good evening. I met you, Carolyn, over 35 years ago, before your political days. And when you decided to run for Common Council, you said, would you be my treasurer? I said, yes. Why? I supported you because I believed in you. I supported you because I trust you and because I love you. Yes, you're my sister-in-law. We dropped the law because it's about love. My sister in love. Carolyn has always been a voice for the voiceless and a loving advocate for the vulnerable. She has sacrificed. She's been obedient to the leading of God. She's a proud woman of God. Carolyn, this is an exhale moment. Take time for Carolyn. Do Carolyn. Relax, breathe, and just cherish all that you've done. You've heard thanks, you've given thanks, but know that we love you and we want to continue to support you in the things that you do. I'm going to leave you with these words, these special words by Maya Angelou. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. It ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, because I am a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's you, Carolyn. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Madge McLaughlin.
Good evening. My sister and I, put it bluntly, you know, we go back a long way. We go back to birth. But I want to let you know that Carolyn did not start protecting people or looking out for people when she joined the Common Council. Carolyn and I attended grade school at Cathedral Academy. We went to Cardinal McCluskey. Then we separated our ways when we graduated. But I want to let you know that her protection started with me. At times, she let me feel as though I was protecting her. Any confrontation she had in school, she would come to me and ask me to fight her battles. But it was Carolyn fighting my battles. I'd stand there and confront someone that may have been giving her a problem or she had an issue with. She'd stand behind me. I'd confront this individual. They'd listen to me contently as I explained to them, you need to leave my sister alone. I turned around one time and she's standing behind me and she's giving this to her. I thought it was me, but it was her. She started with me, protecting people, opening up her heart. I know how strong it is, and it has not wavered once since. I love you. I know you are. You've done a lot, and you have a lot more to do. I love you.
Thank you.
Nala Woodard.
Good evening, Madam President, council members. I think this is the first time I've ever sat in this chair. 5.5 years with the city. You know, I came here to speak tonight about President McLaughlin. As she said when she was speaking, she mentioned Charles Guthrie talking about looking at the stones or the rocks in the road, and I think it's equally as important to look back at the pearls and the gems on the road that you've traveled. Those people that have helped you, as well as those people that have, you know, those rocks that are stumbling blocks. I think President McLaughlin was instrumental in me becoming this first African-American city clerk. And it's not about me. I understand that. And continuing to make history and paving the way for others. And now that's a story that I can share with my children and my family and generations to come, being the first African-American city clerk, as you were the first African-American council president. Working alongside you, wonderful leadership, dignity, passion and love, and we've had real conversations during the time that I've been here, and also, you know, your selflessness and not holding me back even when I knew that my time had come, and you encouraged me. You encouraged me to continue to know my worth and to continue and pushed me forward. So really, you know, not holding me back because I would, you know, it was easier for me to be here, but pushing me forward. And I've seen you do that with a lot of people in the meetings that we've sat, as I sat by your side. You know, I know you have a lot of people here to talk on your behalf. You know, I don't have anything more to say, but just to say thank you, you know, for allowing, for continuing to pave the road and the way for many other people. I'm one of those very fortunate and blessed individuals, and I have nothing more to say but thank you.
Thank you, Nala.
Shay Manning.
Hello.
Good
First
evening,
of all, I
Shay.
wanted to say thank you for getting my name right, because most people don't. So anyways, my name is Shay Mannon. I am with the Empire State Board of Directors. I'm also a member and activist for the local LGBTQ community. And I'm going to make this pretty much short and sweet. I want to see results, because we've been dealing with the issues with the public access for a little over 2 years, and I don't care how it needs to get done or what needs to be done, but it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to do is make my shows, and the fact that I have to come here and deal with all this BS and drama is crazy. It's like, my show was about to showcase what the local LGBTQ community really is. You know, it's not like we're in New York City where we have opportunities to, you know, make films and whatnot. You know, we only had the public access, and now that's taken away. It's like you're stopping us from doing what, you know, showcasing our talent and whatnot. So I don't know what needs to be done, nor do I care. I just want it to be done so we can get back into the studio and start making projects. That's that.
Thank you, Shay. And know that people have been listening, and I know that there's work in progress currently that is going to make sure that the station is up and running very soon. Thank you for being here. The next speaker.
Crystal Russell.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Russell, and I reside at 315 Northern Boulevard in the city of Albany. The Honorable Carol McLaughlin, thank you for giving me this time to say thank you to you. And the council. For 20 years, we've been friends. Our families have intertwined longer than that, starting on Phillip Street. We've talked, we've debated, well, sometimes argued, because I didn't know what I was talking about. So I learned, so she taught me. She taught me a lot. We've cried, we laughed. I'd had to remind you sometimes that you were the Honorable Carolyn McLaughlin, Common Council President, not Superwoman. And in that, you help people. You've helped me. You've helped my family. But one of the greatest things I've learned from you, that you help people, you don't hurt them. And with that said, Honorable Carol McLaughlin, thank you for the things that you have done, the things that you are doing, and get this, the things she's about to do. She's been under attack. We've talked late at night. She's went to sleep, woke up, and said, right in conversation, I said, Carolyn, you were asleep. You were not listening to me. She said, no, I was listening. I could hear her breathing, but we would continue the conversation. You have been lied on, talked about, and you have held your head up high like a trooper. Your mother and father and family are proud of you, and so am I. The platform that you have set for little girls that look like us to help the people of Albany, not our people, but the people of Albany. That's what you stand for. And I have appreciated learning from you, not just being your friend and reaping some beautiful benefits. Like, we go out to great restaurants all the time. You are a very giving person. But I noticed in 20 years that I was sitting there, I never asked you one thing, and I think you would probably do it, probably later on tonight. I want to sit in your chair and just hold that gavel one time. You know what I mean? I have seen you from TV and in this room control this room. It's a job, get ready. But you have handled your business. And when I was saying about us talking on the phone late at night and debating and crying and telling you how pretty you looked on TV and what you said, you always talk in the paper. When you speak, you talk just like you're talking to me. You never talk at someone. Your title never got bigger than you. You spoke as Carolyn, and that made you part of the people. And that's probably why you stayed so long and could probably stay longer. Who knows what's yet in store, right? But one thing, Carolyn, I want to thank you for and tell everybody that being close to you, anyone that knows Carolyn personally knows she can sing very well. I taught her how to sing. There is a song that is requested that she sings at church. And I get full when I think about it. It was odd that she mentioned her mother tonight. Carolyn never complained. She might have got weary sometime. She's human. You're not Superwoman. But thank you, because I have a task before me in my life. And I'm not complaining. I got that from you. You never complained. On behalf of myself and the city of Albany, thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Next speaker.
Nancy Benedict.
As Ms. Benedict comes, Mr. Conti, I find time for me to ask, but do you want to extend the public comment period?
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. I'd make a motion to extend the public comment period for an additional 30 minutes.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Ms. Benedict, I want you to know that I'm going to miss seeing you come, but maybe I can get more involved in some of the advocacy work that you are involved in for public transportation as well as for PIG access. So it's an honor to be able to see you and listen to you one more time tonight in this capacity.
Okay, my name is Nancy Benedict. I live at 31 Forest Road in Delmar. Now, 2 weeks ago I spoke about our new initiative that we're starting. We're trying to get safer bus stops. This is in Citizens for Public Transportation. I mentioned several things like cars being parked in bus stops and bus stops where there's just a sign on a pole in a grassy area, no concrete slab at all, which is very bad for people in wheelchairs. We have places where the curb cuts are in the wrong place in the city of Albany, many of them. Well, one of the things that really is bothering me now, a couple months ago, I don't know just when it was, but you did pass a new ordinance regarding people have to shovel their sidewalks within. Well, they used to have up to 24 hours, and then after that they could be given a warning that they had to shovel their sidewalks, and they got another warning. Well, they would be given a warning and they'd have another 24 hours. That's the way it was to shovel their sidewalks. Now, you took away that extra 24 hours, and I had spoken in favor of that ordinance. I was in favor of it. But what you have failed to do is do anything about the area by a bus stop between the sidewalk and the curb, where there usually is a bank of snow. Now, I talked about this 2 weeks ago. Then today we have a meeting of our bus group every Monday afternoon, and I came to the bus meeting, and Keith Irish presented me with a thing telling that you have amended the law that well, it was an amendment to a previous law, but you basically have increased the fines for not shoveling snow, but you haven't done a thing about the area between the sidewalk and the curb at the bus stops, and that's where the big bank of snow is. That's where the real problem is. And, you know, why aren't you doing anything about that? Why aren't you addressing that situation? I really wish I knew. And we would like to be able to broadcast all of our what we're doing about the bus stops on Access TV, and right now we can't because the TV studio is closed, so we can't tell the general public in the city of Albany all that we want to tell them about bus stops, and we hope you're going to get that situation corrected soon as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Benedict. Our next speaker.
Elijah Willingham.
Good evening, Common Council members, and good evening, Carolyn McLaughlin, the President of the Common Council. This evening, I come before you to state that, Carolyn, for the 20 years that you have been here, you have done some tremendous things in Arbor Hill. No matter black, green, yellow, or orange, you did it, and you did it faithfully, just like before you were stating that God played a big part in it. I'm just going to read down a couple of things that you have done with the Sons of Arbor Hill and the Committee for Hank Wallace. Swan Street, you did the June Willingham Day. You dedicated that basketball court to him. 2 years later, you did Celebration on the Hill. It was a carnival. There was over 350 men, women, and children there. We did 40 plaques for honor business through the 60s and 70s and the 80s. We did 40 plaques for basketball players that went on, or didn't go on, but they was all Albany that came from Swan Street. One little thing was, if you made the all-star team on Swan Street, it was virtually guaranteed that you was an all Albany for the city of Albany, because you had Schuyler, you had Albany High, you had Troy, you had Schenectady ball players, and you had players that would come in for tournaments, like the Sons of Arbor Hill sponsored the Stop the Violence basketball tournament, to honor those mothers that lost someone in the violence on Swan Street or in the violence in Arbor Hill. And you was there. You helped sponsor these things to make them happen. So I'm here to say, Carolyn, job well done. Job well done, Carolyn. Along with your sister, County Legislator Wanda Willingham, who would be here tonight, but she had a budget hearing to decide and vote on their budget for the county. She just wanted me to come and tell you how much you have done for her and how you have improved Arbor Hill, North Albany, the whole city of Albany, with you being president of the Common Council. Job well done, Carolyn. Job well done.
Thank you.
Mr. Kenneth Holmes, Sr.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right. Well, I came real early tonight. I was here at 6 o'clock, but I'm glad y'all saved the best for last. Now, I came to say thank you and goodbye to a good friend that had helped. I'm also a member of the Sons of Arbor Hill. I'm also the original person of the Hank Wallace Committee. So the revitalization of the Arbor Hill softball and recreation area, the basketball, the tennis courts, and all that, the stuff that's going on now, we improvised that 2 years ago. And without the help of Carolyn, it wouldn't be getting done right now. We ran into a problem with it, and we came to her and asked if she would give us a hand, and she went and talked with the mayor, and sure enough, we got things done. So we want to thank you for that, because that's a real big plus, and also the Hall of Fame that all went down at the same time, Hall of Fame plaques, Hall of Fame board, that's going to be revitalized. Also, every year is going to be added on. You had a big part in doing that. Without you, we wouldn't have that right now. So you'll see a difference in Arbor Hill softball area and the basketball courts and the tennis courts in the next year or so. It should be finished by that time. And we just wanted to say thank you for your help, because you was there when we needed you. And we're just a little small group that's trying to help out our neighborhood and the people on Arbor Hill, and you helped us when we needed you. So I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kizzy Williams.
Hello today.
Hello.
I'm Kizzy Williams. My address is 353 Clinton Avenue. And I am so honored to be here today. Miss President Carolyn McLaughlin. I had met you when I first came to Albany. And you were walking the streets by yourself, knocking on doors, telling people to vote. And I have watched you, and I've always been impressed. You are definitely a queen. And I am the owner of Allie B's Cozy's Kitchen. And when I opened Allie B's, Carolyn was not a personal friend of mine. We didn't talk on the phone, we didn't talk in the streets, but you have always supported Allie B's. You have become family to Allie B's. You are a role model to me, and you are a role model to the community. And I am so honored to be here tonight, even though tonight is your last night. But I brought my 12-year-old here with me tonight. And he said, "Why I gotta go, Ma?" And I said, "Boy, this is history." See, when you walked in Allie B's, you made history, because you are the first African-American president of the Common Council. So thank you for bringing history into Allie B's. And I'm just honored. Your family, your church, and some of your board members have been in Allie B's. And I don't know if it's because of you, but I'm grateful. And Albany is going to miss you. They won't get to see, the young African-American children won't get to see a queen in that chair up there. So I told Holly to take some pictures. All right, everybody better take some pictures tonight, because we're going to miss you. Thank you for working hard. Thank you for sacrificing your life to us as citizens in Albany. And just thank you. And God bless.
Thank you so much.
Dennis Carriers.
Yes, my name is Dennis Carius, and I also want PEG, Channel 16, 17, and 18 to come back as good as they were. Wow. And also I want to thank our president, Carolyn McLaughlin, first African-American president of the Common Council. Wow. You could move over to the White House, but even if you get 3 million more votes, Donald would just be reelected for his second term. So there's nothing dysfunctional that needs reform, right? Well, imagine if there was, though. And then if you're getting brainwashed by mainstream media, if you turn on, channel 6, 10, 13, or Fox News, and they say we got to send our troops into Canada, our channel, public access, could actually tell the truth, okay, and say, no, they found oil under the ground up there. Don't do that. So I'm just saying those 3 channels, public access, education, and government, would be really great if things ever got dysfunctional and they were not getting reformed. And when we started this meeting today, I pledged allegiance to the flag for liberty and justice for all. Well, our Constitution and Bill of Rights gives all of us freedom of speech, freedom of the press. Wow, we wouldn't be making all these Peg comments if we could just get Peg to go in a good direction. But unfortunately, it's going in a bad direction right now. So all I'm asking is if we can just start getting those 3 channels to go in a good direction. For example, channel 17, government channel, we used to videotape this meeting right here. Keith used to stand back there with the camera and videotape this. Right now, if a meeting is this popular, is this important, there are so many people, they are out there on the other side of that door. There's not enough room in here for everybody. But all they got to do is just go home, turn on channel 17, and they can watch this meeting. But unfortunately, if, our friend Keith, who used to stand over there and videotape this, was told, don't do this anymore. And my opinion is he was doing too good of a job. I shouldn't use the word dysfunctional. That needs reform. Right. He was doing a great job over there videotaping this, and he was told, don't do this anymore. So all I want to do is just, if we can go in a good direction. If you had so many people show up and there's not enough room in here for them, and they're out there, they can't hear what's going on in here. They're just waiting for individuals, one at a time, to leave. And when they leave, then somebody can come in and sit down. So can we just try to move in a good direction instead of right now, channel 16, 17, and 18, it's going in a bad direction, and there's no need for that because we have so many channels out there now. If you think back 20, 30 years, we had less than 100 channels. Now, I'm not just talking about channel 116-3. There are so many channels up there now. There's no need to get rid of 16, 17, and 18 any more than channel 6, 10, and 13. Why can't we keep those 3 channels? And then not just the government channel, but education and public access. Like I said, we do have a Constitution, Bill of Rights. It gives us freedom of speech, freedom of the press. So why can't we keep those 3 channels and let the public tell the truth if you're ever getting brainwashed by mainstream media? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carius. And again, I want also to remind you that, we are taking steps in the right direction toward getting those 3 channels back up. So I do believe that 2018 is going to see a whole different world for PEG access in Albany. Our next speaker.
Kimberly Krepp.
How you doing?
Good evening. How are you?
All right. So once again, I'm here for public access, as we're all well aware of. All right, the issues with public access have been long-standing and longer than 2 years. We are experiencing the same cycle of mismanagement that we have been experiencing since December 2015. Myself, the Empire State Board of Director Producers, as well as the Friends of Channel Albany, and many members of the community have come not only to the PEG board meetings, to the ad hoc committee meetings, and to the Common Council meetings, and we have listed out the issues. As recently as October 19th at the ad hoc committee, we presented a document to your ad hoc committee, Dorsey, that outlined everything that was wrong with public access with solutions to fix it. That was October 19th at 5:30 p.m. On October 25th, 2017, the Empire State Board of Directors and Producers sent a letter to each member of the ad hoc committee offering our free management services. We have over 7 members on the board at this time, anywhere from IT technicians to producers to editors to everything that is needed in order to produce content on Channel Albany for free. We have not been responded to, not by one ad hoc committee member. You say that you have solutions for Channel Albany. At the last Common Council meeting, it was announced that you had $35,000 to spread out throughout the year for Channel Albany. Well, guess what? That's part of the same $20,000 that you gave us in November 2017 to hire a coordinator full-time for this year that never panned out, along with the original $15,000. So for you to say that, oh yeah, you have $35,000, that's no newsflash. We know you're not spending the money on what it needs to be spent on. Simple and plain. We also understand that you want to hire the Albany Public Library at $35,000 to manage Channel Albany, which we find is pretty, to us, that's money laundering. I mean, really, you're going to hire a not-for-profit company to manage a not-for-profit company for profit? Go ahead and do that and see if that pans out and how that's really going to look for Albany. Albany's an embarrassment. This house is an embarrassment. Everything, the blatant disrespect and the continuing lackadaisical attitude from this Common Council, the PEG AOB board, and the ad hoc committee is disgusting. We are taxpayers. Not only do we pay our taxes, which you coincidentally raised your salaries at the last meeting, you raised your salaries, but we still can't have public access, which is already something that we're paying for on our cable bills. How many people here have cable? How many people here pay a franchise fee every month because we live in the city of Albany and we have to? So for 2017, $1.2 million was generated off of that franchise fee. For 2017, our studio was open less than a year because the PEG board could not manage it properly. You don't have an RFP to hire a coordinator. The RFP that's on the city website expired May 31st, 2017, and is only listed for 20 hours. So what happened to the full-time coordinator fees? Why were they never included for us to get a coordinator? Also, I want to know why, since December 2015, myself, another show, Bars Wars, and another show, Out in the 518, all of our material was deleted from the servers in the library. All of our intellectual property that we have built up for years, shows, content, irreplaceable property, was deleted in December 2015 when Joe Aldonado left the studio and a new coordinator took the place in April. And no one has answered these questions yet. So you wonder why I'm angry? I'm angry because my intellectual property was stolen 2 years ago and no one wants to address it. We have been addressing this numerous times at every PEG meeting, at every ad hoc committee meeting, and every Common Council meeting, and all we keep getting is the runaround and lip service. Oh, we're working on it. You're not working on it. The whole library deal was rejected last year, and that's something you want to rehash because you don't have any other plans. Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. Who's been the IT tech for Channel Albany the whole time? Kimberly Krepp. Did Kimberly Krepp get a fee for that? No. Your entire PEG board can't even access what is needed for the studio. They don't have the usernames and passwords. They don't know what it is. I'm the one that hacked it for Mario. Me, because I am an IT tech. I'm a coordinator and producer, along with the rest of the members of Channel Albany. So we want to know why our request has been denied. We offered a public service for free by a bunch of professionals in order to handle a service so the community could have access under the Public Access Franchise Agreement and the Federal Cable Commerce Act. Because remember, the city ordinance is overseen by a federal law, so this is not something local. Your ordinance is only a city thing, okay? So as far as that goes, your city ordinance even defines the duties and responsibilities of the board members. None of them had fulfilled their fiduciary responsibilities. For 1 year, we have been asking that the entire board be removed and new members placed, so that way we can have people that will fulfill their responsibilities, and it has not happened. Instead, you replaced the same members. You fired a dedicated volunteer. You fired the vice chairman of the board. You're trying to fire the chairman, but you didn't handle the whole solution. The rest of the board is dysfunctional. St. Rose doesn't uphold their part of the franchise agreement, and we funded their studio. The New School of Radio and Television hasn't upheld their end of the bargain as per the franchise agreement either. I have sat here and bulleted out for this council.
And we appreciate the information you've given us, Ms. Kimberly. And I'm going to have to, I've allowed you to go over.
Right.
But I'm going to have to stop you at this point. And I know you'll be back 2 weeks from now with this same comment. So I appreciate it. And as many times as you have to come here, you do that. And that's what public comment is about. But at the same time, I've allowed you to go over, so I'm going to ask you to end your comments so that we can hear from the 2 or 3 other people. But we do appreciate the commitment you have to this issue, and as I've stated to the other members of the public who've spoken on this topic, 2018, I'm sure that you will see progress with the PEG access.
I appreciate that, Caroline, and thanks for the graceful exit from your office. I see that people have been giving you some quotes, in your journey, so I'd like to give you one too. You measure a democracy not by the freedom it gives. You measure a democracy by the freedom it gives its dissidents, not the freedoms that it bestows on its assimilated conformists.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker.
Jason Muffet.
We have two more speakers.
First of all, I just wanted to thank everybody who commits themselves to serve here for the City of Albany, whether you're coming back or you're wrapping up your public life. Thank you for your service. I was originally going to come here 2 weeks ago to speak on a topic. When I was reminded I had tickets to see Joe Biden speak, so I'm kind of sorry I didn't do that. I did see him speak. I'm sorry I didn't speak here because of the topic I'm speaking on. There's a lot of gridlock around the area of Delaware Avenue when Morton turns into Holland, over by the Elbow Room, on Oneida Terrace. The 4 intersections that are there constantly in the morning have vehicles who decide, oh, maybe I can make it through the intersection, and then they don't. And there's very little enforcement over there. And why I'm really sorry I didn't get to speak 2 weeks ago on this topic is I would have looked like the biggest prophet in the world. The next day, one of my students at the school I teach was hit by a vehicle there. He's going to be okay, but there really does need to be something better about how traffic is handled in this city. We're not enforcing it well enough. People are just saying, I think I can make it through the red light, and then it leads to situations where other people say, well, I'm entitled to make it through the red light too. This includes pedestrians. And somebody aged 14 thankfully doesn't need crutches, but it could have been a lot worse. And I just want to put that in the context of, we're here in the city of Albany, and I know there was a news article for trying to woo Amazon.com here. Honestly, if I were an executive looking at this city and I see that kind of gridlock, I see that there's sections of Madison Avenue that are 2 lanes in each direction, but we haven't bothered to actually keep up with the painting for those lanes. It took I think 8 years to finally repaint Northern Boulevard between where Green Tech Charter High School used to be and the Kipp Middle School. This city needs to step up with how it handles traffic. So I hope I'm planting a seed of thought that we look at that issue, whose solution might just be as simple as painting some lines and better broadcasting how we handle pedestrian traffic in this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Holly Francisco.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Holly Francisco, 353 Clinton Avenue. Since I have this brief moment, I also want to say thank you to Councilman Bailey. It has been a pleasure knowing you and your amazing family, and I hope our relationship continues. But I am especially here today to say thank you to my president. Gotten to know you over the years. It has been an honor. The pleasure is all mine. You're an amazing woman. Albany is very lucky. And There are plenty of things that are great about this city, but I am just so thankful to have known you, which has been one of the people that have made it great. You've made all of our lives better. You've made this city better. You've made this city safer. And that is not just for a select group of people. That's for people of color. That's for people from like myself, from the LGBT community. That has been lower class, middle class, upper class, everyone. We will always be grateful to you. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you for the giving of yourself that you've done consistently over the years. There's a folk song, not an old one, more like a modern folk song, and in it says, feminism is not about equality, it's about reprieve. And thank you so much for being an integral part of the reprieve that we all desperately needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alana Klein.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Before I jump into my main points, I'd like to thank Carolyn for her continued commitment to the council, 20 years of service. Unfortunately, I was only here for 5 months of it, but I was impressed with what I saw, and I wish you best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
I'd like to begin by addressing the events of last meeting. For those of you in attendance who are unfamiliar with that to which I'm referring, let's just say that it went off the rails is an understatement. The actions of this constituent were, in a word, embarrassing. So much so that I took the effort to switch chairs before I sat down to speak tonight as a symbolic way of saying I will not share a seat with this individual. If we were not passionate about these issues, we would not be speaking before the council. We owe our respective causes more due diligence and respect than to resort to screaming, threats, and what was, in my opinion, race baiting, as inadvertent as it may have been. That being said, this ironically does tie into my main point tonight. In the 5 months that I have been coming to Common Council meetings, I don't think I've ever been to one in which every member was present. Moreover, I think that there are only about 3 or 4 members who have been to every meeting that I have attended. And I get it. Personal and family emergencies and scheduling conflicts come up. My issue here is that how can we be certain our voices are heard by said members of the council? I have never seen publicly available transcripts of meetings until recently on YouTube. Don't get me wrong, the videos on social media and fixing the Channel Albany situation will go a long way towards achieving this, but I ask that the council continue to work with the city clerk and other relevant staff to further increase transparency. For instance, the meeting on November 6th was the evening before Election Day, and members of the council were up for re-election. The attendance at that meeting was, I believe, 9, or 60%. This was a meeting that easily could have been pushed back a few days, and I urge you to make such a change in 2021 and in every 4 years thereafter. A few of you are nearing the end of your terms, yet are still fulfilling your civic duties. To you, I say, thank you. To certain others, I will tell you that I fully believe in giving the benefit of the doubt, and I am admittedly not familiar with the attendance numbers of committees that happen outside of these Monday meetings. However, there is the old expression that perception is reality. You've got to know how it looks when you lose an election and fail to show up for subsequent meetings. You've got to know how it looks when you lose an election, show up to the next meeting, and abruptly leave after you cast the sole dissenting vote on the budget. In the event that perception is reality, I would like to remind you that your term did not end November 7th. Your term ends on December 31st, and we the people expect you to do your jobs until then. Thank you. Black Lives Matter. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Alana. I'm sorry, there was one more speaker.
Forgive me, Mr. Antonio Worthy.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I come here tonight to continue an issue of Islamic remodification for 26 South Swan Street, which used to be an Islamic school ran by the Imam Dawood Rahmatullah before he was taken from this dunya in such a manner. I have brought a few handouts for the committee members to see, to maybe persuade or vote into the right direction, inshallah. I believe this is important because it stops the work of a group known as Tain Ministries, which was active ever since I was in the 11th grade in high school, which was stemmed from the Nation of Islam and members of the Ku Klux Klan in Athens, Alabama, who wanted to stop the teaching of Islam. They wanted to restore slavery into this dunya, and they wanted it to do it when Malcolm X was alive. He had a friend, thankfully by Allah, named Imam Dawood. Some may know him as Butch Sundance, who helped him achieve the victory of segregation in this dunya. And so what happened, they kind of found out that he was a descendant of Shaka Zulu and wanted to kill him even more. What they would do is they struck a deal between the Seventh-day Adventist Church and members of the Ku Klux Klan in Athens, Alabama, to practice devil worship in this country. And he was their main course. I don't like to want to use that phrase main course because, people aren't supposed to be eating people, but that's what kind of happened. These people ate this man. And so what they did is one of the places that they worked primarily was 26 South Swan Street, the Sheridan Hollow Drop-In Center. And a lot of it was done by the current employees that work there now, like that woman named Shamika who has the office upstairs, who has partaken in pig blood drinking ceremonies and has worked with the Imam's own daughter, Janisa, who used to be an employee there, about how they were going to kill the Imam Dawood Rahmatullah.
Can I ask you to refrain from using people's names? We don't know these people.
I'm sorry.
They're
I
not here
apologize.
to refute anything you're saying. I'm going to let you say what you have to say, but I would ask that you would not name these people because they're not here to speak on their own behalf.
I understand. Forgive me. So to wrap it up, but this also pertains to this public access situation that this woman behind me speaks of. When the Imam Dawood was taken from this dunya around 2012 or so, I come to find out earlier tonight that the problems of the public access network started in the year 2015. I stand to be corrected. When I was in Boston, Massachusetts, members of a group called the Ladies of Lucifera spoke about the same network that this woman spoke of, and they said that they had to keep him from speaking on the air. And he spoke on a public access channel in Albany, New York. So what they did, Bismillah, they got members of the American Muslim Society to help them get this man off the air. So I'm kind of thinking, because it sounds too much alike, that around in 2015 they wanted to bury his murder completely, so they just cut the public access. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but then again, these people are very serious in their agenda in this dunya. So as far as that public access, I think it's very important that it goes back on the air, because I think maybe with this situation, it was one of those reasons why it's been taken off, to cover it up. After all, they did say that he died of a heroin overdose when his head was cut off. So, Allahu Alam, I don't know, but thank you for allowing me to speak, ma'am. Good day.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. That concludes our public comment period. I want to say thank you to all the individuals who came out to speak tonight on our various topics, and thank you so much for your well wishes. And now we will move into the business of our meeting. You are free, and we would to stay, and as we finish the rest of the meeting. But if you choose not to, I'm going to ask that you exit as quietly as possible. Mr. Conti.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 20th council meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Mr. Conti, I'm sorry, we now move to local laws, introduction by majority consent.
Correct. Thank you. Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to add local law B of 2017 to tonight's agenda by majority consent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Cornegay.
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of my colleague, Dorsey, Councilwoman Pleers, I introduce Local Law B, 2017.
A local law amending Article 32 of Chapter 42 of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to a temporary reduction of the salary of the treasurer.
Is there any?
Thank you, Madam President. The remaining local laws on tonight's agenda are held.
Thank you. Are there any reports of standing committees? Ms. Goldby.
Thank you, Madam President. The Public Safety Committee will be meeting this Thursday, December 7th at 5:30 p.m. to interview candidates who would like to serve on the Citizens Police Review Board. Unlike most committee meetings, when we interview candidates, there will not be public comment, though the public is welcome to sit there for the interviews. Thank you.
That's on Thursday? Okay. So that's 12. Is there anyone else? Mr. O'Brien?
Thank you. The General Services Committee will meet tomorrow to consider the two ordinances being introduced tonight, 46-121-17 and 47-121-17.
Was there anyone else that I missed? Mr. Herring?
Yes, Madam President, the Planning Committee will meet December 13th to consider the proposed extranet contract, along with consideration of the nomination to the Planning Board of Jilanice Galliard, and also maybe the discussion of the USDO planning document.
Thank you very much. If there's no other committee reports, we'll now move to consideration of ordinances. Ms. Goldby, ordinances to be introduced.
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Ordinance 46-121-17 for introduction and ask that it be held.
Please read the title.
An ordinance amending Chapter 259 of the Code of the City of Albany.
That's referred to the General Services Committee.
Thank you. Ms. Goldby again.
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Ordinance 47-121-17 for introduction and ask that it be held.
Please read the title.
An ordinance amending Chapter 323 of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to the fines for failure to clear sidewalks of snow and ice.
Madam President, that is also referred to the General Services Committee. Madam President, the remaining ordinances on tonight's agenda are held, with the exception of agenda item number 2 by Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Bailey?
Thank you, Madam President. I recognize ordinance number 44-112-17. Ask for its reading and I vote the passage thereon.
Please read the title.
An ordinance of the Common Council authorizing the execution of a license agreement with Swan Street Mixed Use LLC, an affiliate of the Albany Housing Authority, for the use and occupancy of a portion of the city right-of-way in front of the property located at 155 Clinton Avenue.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. The ordinance passes. Resolutions introduced. Mr. Herring?
Yes, Madam President, I noticed Resolution 69.121.17R for the purpose of introduction.
Clerk, please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council confirming the appointment of Glenessa Gaylord to the Planning Board.
Mr. Conti?
Thank you, Madam President. That resolution is referred to the Planning Committee. And Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to add by majority consent the following resolutions to tonight's agenda. Resolution numbers 71-21-17R, 71-121-17R, 72-121-17R, 73-121-17R, 74-121-17R, and 75-121-17R.
All those in favor? Thank you very much. Ms. Doesschate.
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Resolution 70.121-17R MC for introduction and ask for its passage on a voice vote.
Is there any discussion? Did you read the title yet? I wasn't paying attention. Please read the title.
Sure. Resolution of the Common Council establishing the locally adjusted base proportion of the homestead and non-homestead classes for property tax purposes pursuant to Article 19 of the Real Tax Property Law.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. The resolution passes. Mr. Kimbrough.
Thank you, Madam President. I noticed Resolution 71-121-7.
Please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council approving and endorsing the application of the City of Albany to Empire State Development Corporation under Round 5 of the Restore New York Communities Initiative Municipal Grant Program for funding to assist the Capital Repertory Theater Project located at 251-255 North Pearl Street in the City of Albany.
If not, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Is there any opposed? Thank you very much. The resolution passes, and congratulations and good luck with this application. We'll be pulling for you. Ms. Doesschate?
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Resolution 72-121-17R for introduction and passage, and I ask for a voice vote thereon.
Please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council authorizing the levy upon City of Albany properties for unpaid charges of the Department of Fire and Emergency Services, Department of Building and Codes, and the Department of General Services.
Is there any discussion? I'm going to also call for a voice vote on this, unless somebody requests otherwise. If no discussion, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. Resolution passes. Ms. Doesschate.
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Resolution 73-121.17 for introduction and passage, and ask for a voice vote thereon.
Please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council authorizing the levy upon City of Albany properties for unpaid water and sewer charges.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. The resolution passes. Mr. Conti, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I offer Resolution 74.121.17R, request passage and a vote thereon.
Please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council consenting to an adjustment in salary for the Deputy Clerk for the 2017 budget.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. The resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Resolution 75.121.17R for introduction and passage, and I ask for a voice vote thereon.
Please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council consenting to an adjustment in salary for certain positions in the Department of Public Records for the year 2018.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Resolution passes. Mr. Conti?
Thank you, Madam President. The remaining resolutions on the agenda are held, with the exception of agenda item number 6 by Councilmember Doesschate.
Ms. Doesschate?
Thank you, Madam President. I notice Resolution 63.112.17R and ask for its passage and a voice vote thereon.
Please read the title.
Resolution of the Common Council consenting to an adjustment in salary for certain positions for the 2018 budget.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. The resolution passes. Is there any other miscellaneous or unfinished business? Mr. Herring.
Yes, Madam President, notice before me a listing of Commissioner of Deeds, and I ask for its passage and a request a waiving of the reading of the names.
Clerk, please read the title.
Resolved that the following persons be and are hereby appointed Commissioner of Deeds for the City of Albany, New York for the term ending December 31st, 2018.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Conti?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to say a few words before. I don't know if anyone else wanted to speak. Ms. Cornegay?
Ms. Cornegay?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say to you that thank you. I want to say thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you for the path that you've paved. And thank you for having faith in me that brought me here. I personally thank you for the endorsement, standing out there in the cold in front of the bathhouse that we were both fighting to try to revitalize. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but I thank you. And I thank you for the opportunity to agree, the opportunity to agree to disagree without being disagreeable. And I thank you just for your service and for all that you've done for me in my service. The words of encouragement and saying to me, believing in me, and saying that when I said, but I'm better at doing this on that side as an advocate, or you said, but you'll be good on this side because you're an advocate. So I want to just say thank you. I remember the days in Sunday school when you were my Sunday school teacher, and those words started there. So regardless of what our differences have been, I love you, and I have always considered you my friend, and I am your friend. And no matter where your path takes you, I'll be watching to see what else you do, because I know you're like me, you're not done. You're just starting. I know you're not tired. You grow weary sometimes, and so do I. We grow frustrated, but we don't get tired. It just puts that much more fight in the woman that you are. So I say thank you to you, and thank you for being a friend, a colleague, and somebody out there on the front line.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I can't see. Ms. Doesschate.
Carolyn, I don't think there's a person in this room that doesn't recognize that you have been dedicated the last 20 years to the best interests of the people of Albany. And you've been passionate about it, and I particularly appreciate that passion. You've been an important voice on many issues and have often said what needed to be said without fear, with courage. And in running these meetings, I've appreciated how you have done it with grace and dignity and courtesy to the people that come before us and educating people. And you've handled many extremely difficult situations extremely well, and I appreciate that as well. I wish you the best.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey? Thank you. Ms. Fahey?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want you to know it has been my honor to serve with you. Just as other people have said, you've been so tremendously dedicated to your role here and have served our entire city very well. I appreciate your service, your 20 years of service. One of the things that I've always been most impressed with, and it's a long list, and you actually spoke about the challenges of public service very well tonight. But I was always very impressed with your ability to make anyone who comes before the council to feel comfortable. I think, it's a wonderful thing when some of our most marginalized citizens can feel comfortable coming before this body and speaking their mind. And you did a really beautiful job with that, so congratulations. And I wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Goldby? Thank you. Mr. O'Brien?
It's been 16 years that I've been working with you. You were senior to me, so I did have some stuff to learn from you. Thank you for that. I've enjoyed it. I mirror all the other comments. I think you've been fair, welcoming, a good mentor to a number of people. So thank you, and come around and be with us whenever you can.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kimbrough? Thank you. Mr. Herring? Thanks, Dan. Mr. Igo. I was looking for one of those. Thank you very much. Mr. Conti?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd love to see that brochure because I think the same picture was of me in 2002 is the one. It's the same photo. Black and white photo, and when we went from black and white brochures to color, mine is the only black and white one. I discovered how not to age. But seriously, this is a bittersweet moment. I will note that you, I, and Mr. Igo were part of the class of 1997. And when you think about it, the change in 97 and of course the class of 2017 and the class of 2013 have both ushered in 7 new members, tremendous amount of change. Mr. Herring preceded us by a year. And so we see that transition, that the new blood coming in, so to speak. I hate that term. And it's not like we're old blood, but senior statespeople, we have a wealth of institutional knowledge that should never be forgotten, and what we know and what we hope to pass on, and what those who come after us should always, look at us as a resource in terms of how this council operates. And we've worked together on the leadership team first as, and I don't know if you remember, you were one of the people pivotal in making me President Pro Tem. I don't know if sometimes I don't want to know if I want to thank you or not, but you were part of that change in the leadership. I forget when it was, but it was a while back. And we worked together not just as colleagues on the council, but as President Pro Tem and Majority Leader, and then as President Pro Tem and President. We've seen a lot. We've done a lot. I hope we've accomplished a lot that's good. There have been times when we've disagreed, but I always think those disagreements were respectful, the way they should be, and the way I've told some of my colleagues here. I don't care if you disagree, as long as you're civil and respectful in the disagreement, and we can engage in discussion. And that's something I pass on to the new members as well. But our objectives were always the same in terms of representing our constituents and wanting to do what was best and good for the people of the city of Albany. So I think you took us a little off guard in terms of leaving us earlier. I hope that we can put together something more fitting to recognize your departure and celebrate your career. And we'll try to work on that, because I think your long career in the city of Albany and your public service, which actually your public service also includes your state service, that it is fitting that we recognize that in a more formal way. So I don't know what more to say. I wasn't planning on becoming council president either, but that kind of something is automatic. So, I think Ms. Colby sums up a lot of the emotions in her own way that we might be feeling tonight. It's just an indication of how we're moving on. And I know you won't be going away, because I know you've never been a silent voice. And I think I said at one point that for every important issue or policy that has been discussed on this council or in the city of Albany, that your voice has always been part of that discussion. And I don't think that just because you're stepping down as council president, I don't think that's going to end at all. I know it's not. So I do wish you the best as we move on. And there's a lot of work to do still in this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Oh, yes, sir.
I guess.
I just want to, it would be remiss if I sat and I did not say anything to you. I want to firstly say thank you, for the vote of confidence that you've shown in me when the opportunity came to move in the position that I'm in now. You had a conversation with me, and you gave me, some words of encouragement, and I'll always be grateful for that. The transition hasn't been easy, but in our times that we have spoke, you've always encouraged me, and reassured me that I was capable. And I've in this time that I've been with us in City Hall, I've seen how you carried yourself, the dignity that you've carried yourself, and I've been able to watch you and draw strength from you, and how you've been able to handle things that are difficult with a certain amount of class and dignity that should be appreciated by all. So I do want to say thank you. We'll continue to work in this position. Forever grateful for your reassurance of your faith in me and the position. Mr. Woodard, I want to thank you as well, because I know you're here just as well, but you spoke very highly of Nala, and I'm hoping that during my time I'll be able to make you proud by continuing to have the city clerk as an exemplary department in the city. So thank you.
I want to acknowledge County Legislator Wanda Willingham. As you all know, she is my sister, and who she was late because they had a budget meeting. Did you guys pass the budget? Okay, for the county. So, but as two family members, two women that have been so involved in the workings of city and county government, we haven't always agreed. We're two different people. We approach things differently, and sometimes, but we came as a package when most people saw us. People who are natives of Albany who took very seriously, and she takes very seriously her job as a county legislator, because it's about the people. And so I just want to appreciate her for coming over from her meeting before we ended. We did go a little long tonight, but I thank you for your indulgence, everyone. It is bittersweet, but I just want you to know that finally that this is an experience that most people could hope for, to have this kind of experience. And I've been blessed to have had this experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm going to write about it. I don't know if I'm going to change the names to protect the innocent, but I do plan to write about it because it is important history, and there's important lessons that need to be passed on for future leaders, no matter where they come from within our community. So, again, I just say thank you for the opportunity to serve, and thank you for the memories that I have to always think back on. I want to thank my good friend Nell Stokes for being here tonight. This is a woman who I learned a lot of lessons from. She has a strong history in the city of Albany, and when I came along, she was doing, and still is, doing some great things in the city of Albany. So I'm deeply honored that you would stay here tonight and be with me. Mr. Raguso, the 16th council member, he's still here. I gave him that title, and I hope nobody takes it away from him. But thank you so much for always being that voice from the people. You never, I mean, if you believed in it, you spoke on it, and I really thank you, and I hope you'll continue to do that. And my sister Maddie and my daughter April, thank you so much. Those are two of the hardest working people. If you ever had somebody if you got somebody like them on your team, you're a winner. So I just want to thank them also for being here tonight. And Mr. Alfredo, I've watched you come to meetings in the last few months to see what's going on. I applaud you for doing that, because nobody sits at that desk knowing what to do. But you have to watch people who have been doing it. And as Richard said, there are some statesmen. I'll call you elder statesmen. He said something else, but I'll call you the elder statesmen that are around this table, that it would do you well to talk with them, to listen to them, make your own decisions, but learn from the experience of people who have been around the table for a while. So I honor you and respect you for coming and trying to get a leg up. So I think that's all I have to say. My sister-in-law gave me this gavel when I got this seat. So I'm going to say, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Madam President, I'd also like to recognize City Auditor Sue Rizzo, who's here tonight. And with that,
I didn't. I can't. You know what? I took my glasses. My eyes are blinded. Yes, she and I have had some candid conversations about a woman coming into that new office, and I wish you all the best.
And with that, Madam President, I would make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.